Hi, it's Rana, and I have a layout today for the Pretty Little Studio design team. I'm also playing along with pineapple papers, off the board with pineapple papers. We are to use Pinterest pins and a list of prompts that she has, one for each day of the week. Saturday is Scraplift. So I've chosen this layout from the Hip Kit Club design team. And I love this layout. I have done something a little bit similar where you just fold the paper down, but I have never added the pom-pom trim. I thought that would be so cute with this Pretty Little Studio collection. So I thought I would use that as my inspiration today. I'm using the Sunkissed collection and some of the new 6x12 die cuts I thought would be fun on this layout. So I have chosen this paper. I love it. It's double-sided. I do buy a lot of the single-sided ones, and I pulled out Sunkissed because I knew I had several of the double-sided from this collection, and I just thought it would be easier. You can do it with single-sided paper and just add the other paper under it and kind of make it like a faux fold where you're folding it. It's just not the back side of the paper, you're just folding it over. But I decided to use this double-sided. It would be super cute, and I love that with this with these photos of my granddaughter. So I am going to use 2 photos. She only used 1. I had 2 and I just couldn't decide which one I wanted to use because they're both so cute. One of them you can really see her little froggy there that she's holding, and the other one she had such a cute smile, so both of them it is. I am using Distress ink in Kitsch Flamingo to add this little glow. The paper that the original designer used on her layout kind of had that. I don't know if it was part of the paper. I'm not a part of Hip Kit, so I don't know anything about the paper that she used or anything. I've never seen it, but it kind of looked like maybe it was some mixed media on top of the paper, and I wanted to do it anyway. I think it really matches her shirt well, and it's going to be super cute with that pom-pom trim, so I went with that. I'm going to make mine a pocket, so I'm just adding the adhesive around the edges, and that way I can tuck stuff in. In hindsight, I wish I would have done like a little hidden journaling, like a tag or something behind the photos, but everything's glued down now, so, and I forgot to do that part. But I like how it turned out, and there is still room to journal, so I'm not too worried about it. It wasn't a big, huge story to tell or anything. They just found this little frog while they were at the farm, and the kids were both holding it, and it was super cute, so not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and use red line tape, and you saw there that I chose a thicker red line tape than I normally use. I have this one, and I like it because the fold over needs to be able to stick down really securely as well as the pom-pom trim. So I put the pom-pom trim on the edge, and then when I folded it over, the rest of the red line tape was able to adhere it down, and it will stay very well because that is a very strong bond with that red line tape. So I know where I want to place my photos, and I'm going to go ahead and instead of adding layers and mats on my photos, I'm going to add like a little soft glow over this white paper to kind of be in place of the layers or the mats. And I really like how that goes, and it kind of ties it into what I did on the bottom, and I liked how that was going to work. It's very sweet and soft, and you know, kind of a fun look. Not something I do all the time, but it was fun. So I have 3 packages of these little die cuts, and I'm going to go through all 3 of those and just have a lot of fun picking out. There's so many choices, so much variety in all of these packets of die cuts, and I'm going to pull out some clouds. I have the pink ticket says adventure, and I found a little word that says love, and I'm going to use that up above. I'm trying to decide which of the little girls I wanted to use, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with this one. She is holding a basket with some little ducks in it, and I thought it was pretty cute. Addie's holding a frog, not a duck, but it doesn't matter. It's super cute. I found some flowers, and so I'm going to move on to my next pack. And that tag right there, I am going to pull it out, but I didn't do it right here. I kind of did it off screen. So I am going to pull out a couple of different tabs, and I'm going to go with the one that has the bright pink. That's going to draw your eye, and I'm going to also add some bright pink in the bottom right corner. So that's all for that pack, but again, I am going to go back and pull up that green tab as well. Looking at this one and trying to decide, did I want anything out of this one, and I saw these big flowers. So the other die cuts have smaller flowers, but this one had 4 large ones, and I really thought that that would be perfect. So I'm going to find each one of those and pull those out. Found an arrow to point to the little frog in her hand. Thought that was a cute idea. And I'm just going to try and decide where I want everything. I love those big florals. I'm going to put a little tiny floral above the pink, and it's going to be kind of tucked down in. These 3 are going to be kind of layered up and tucked in. I'm going to add foam tape behind them. Some I will do on screen, some I will do off screen. And then I'm going to get started on this bottom cluster. That's where she had her title. I'm going to have a phrase down there, but it's not really necessarily my title. I don't know. I have 3 places where there's words. None really are exactly a title, I don't think, but all kind of go with the feel of the layout, so that's what I went with. Still trying to decide, but I really like that pink flower up there, and I only have the 4, so it's not going to stay there. I'm going to, like she did, have a couple of banners. I am going to go off screen here in just a minute and try and find some other papers to use, and I hadn't pulled out any other paper because I didn't know I wanted to use papers there. I thought I would be able to just use embellishments, but I decided I wanted a couple of banners like the original layout had. Pulled out some of the little sticker stitches, and they were not going to show up. So I go off and find that scrap of blue, and then I wanted more green down here because I had found that green tab that I put above the adventure, and it says garden, so now it's going to say garden adventure over there, which I thought was appropriate. And I'm going to, of course, since I cut this with scissors, it is definitely not straight, so I have to get my trimmer out and make sure it's straight and then make it a banner. I kind of fuss around with how I want the placement. The little phrase there says, "The world is full of magical things." And I think a little frog that will just sit right there in your hand is pretty magical. So that's why I went with that. The kids loved it. They're getting braver because they have been scared of the frogs in the past, but I think that they are enjoying it now. So that's pretty much how that's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and wiggle things around a little bit more, add some foam tape to the blue banner piece, and then I'm going to also add foam tape to the phrase. This is 1mm foam tape that I'm using here. It's from Scrapbook.com. It comes in a roll. I love it. I use it all the time on all of my layouts. When I am popping something up that's going to be over 2 different layers, so I have the layer there that is on the blue, then I'm kind of adjusting this, and I was going to have the other over the green, so the green's not popped up. So all I had to do is just add one more little strip across the top, and then that makes it doubled up, and it works perfectly, and it stays nice and flat over 2 different heights of the banners. Going to add my little butterfly there so that it has that bright pink at the top and the bottom. I have the bright pink in the pom-pom trim, and then the bright pink up at the top with that tab, and I like how that just draws your eye all the way down the page. So the bottom cluster is done. I did pull out some flare. I ended up not using those, but I mess around with trying to decide where I might want it for a long time. They were really cute, but I did like I said, just not end up using those. I liked what they said and all of that. I just couldn't make them work. I liked the color of that pink one too. It was the perfect color for her shirt. But if I put it right there where the pink flower was, it didn't really work. I didn't like it over the banner either. So fuss, fuss, fuss. That's kind of how I scrapbook. I like the little clouds up there. She had 2 spots. One looked kind of watercolory on the top left, and the other just had like a little tab and some words and just a small embellishment. I went with the clouds and didn't do anything on the other side at all. I felt like I had enough going on, so I didn't want to add anything else in that top corner. It just wasn't needed. Coming from someone who thinks more is more all the time, I didn't think it was needed, so what are you going to do? I'm going to add small bits of the 1mm foam tape all the way around, and then add just some dot adhesive right in the middle, so the center of the flower is down to the page, and then all the edges are kind of up, and it just gives it a nice rounded look. I love how that works. I also kind of curl up, you saw that with my fingernail, the leaves, and that kind of rounds those as well. It just has a fun little more realistic look for a little whimsical flower. So getting all of the tape on there. I don't always add the gluing portion, but for some reason I left all of that in. This is my 3rd try on this. I had to completely delete the whole video and start all over because of the video, not the footage. The footage was still on my camera, but once I put it on my computer, somehow it got corrupted, and it's been quite the process. This is my 3rd voiceover and the 2nd time I did the entire video, so it's one of those days. The little green letters are old from Felicity Jane. They matched pretty well, so I went ahead and used them. They say Froggy Love, so I just wanted to add the little froggy part, and I didn't have any tile stickers that I could find in the in this collection, so I just went with those because they were in my stash. Get that clipped off there. I'm going to come in here now with this Distress ink in Kitsch Flamingo that I used to blend and make the little soft glow, and I'm just going to use that for splatters. It's hard to tell on screen, I know, but they really do add a lot. In my opinion, the little splatters ties everything together, and I thought it turned out really nice there. And that's pretty much it. You can check out the description below and you'll find the blog post, or the link to the blog post, and on the blog I will have everything, each product will be linked. This is, once again, thank you to this original designer. I loved the layout and I was happy to scraplift it. There you can see the little frog she was holding. There's also a playlist in the description box for everyone else who is playing along with Off the Board with Pineapple Papers. And you will also find a link to the Facebook group for the Pretty Little Studio fans. And I will also have information there about the products. So check all of those things out, and we will be with you again very soon. Bye-bye.